Hey, what's up, guys? It's DJ here, and welcome to Rants and Raves. This episode is going to be about early access gaming, or as a lot of us in the PC, scene have been used to calling it, beta testing or alpha testing. However early we plan on going. This recent kind of push to play games earlier that you've wanted to play, and what I think is how companies are using it as a marketing strategy, and how I think it's kind of a double-edged sword. I think it's kind of messed up. What they're saying is, you can play our game, you can buy it, and you can get early access to it. Now, back when I started gaming and grew up into gaming a while ago, early access or beta testing was always, here, you have permission to play our game early, help us work on it. Now, early access is, hey, you can buy our game for $15, which is actually going to be the box price, and you can help us test it. Now, the thing about early access that I understand, is, getting the bugs out of your game. Well, the part that I don't understand is allowing potentially all of your client base to see your game in its most broken state that it'll ever be in. Now, that takes some vulnerability. You have to be able, the developers are going to be in their most vulnerable points. But, is it the mindset of the developers that, hey, it doesn't matter if they like our game, if they buy into it early because we already have their money? Or is it, hey, we really think that our game is good to the point where if it is broken and they find bugs, they'll still play it? Is it a gimmick, or is early access a gimmick to get people just to pay the money? Hype it up. I'll bring in, for example, the War Z, which is now called Infestation because of copyright issues that they had on their end. But you look at that, and that was just all hype. They were removed from Steam. First off, because their screenshots were false advertising. They were showing high quality screenshots. They were showing places in their screenshots that didn't even exist on the map. On top of that, if you look at the background image for their loader and their loading screens, it's like it looks almost exactly like the concept art for The Walking Dead. Also, I'm not trying to bash. All I'm trying to say is that early access games, you have to be careful of them. They're very risky. I honestly have maybe bought into 2 early access games that I still play. One being 7 Days to Die, which I still derp around on that because I see them working on it over, they keep on building on it, which I think is great. And Starbound, which is turning into this colossus, community-driven mod machine that is just awesome. So to me, those are 2 games that are doing it right. Starbound is very moddable. People are like, yes, let's make mods, and it's building the game, and they incorporate mods that they like into the game every couple patches. So, they're really listening to the community, really working with the community, and really wanting to make their game better by early accessing it. Whereas you have these games that are hyped and ride the hype, like the DayZ hype with Infestation, that just say, oh, let's put together a game as quick as we can and hype it up and have founders packs or beta access packs, and people can buy into it, and that's how we'll get our money, and then we'll leave the servers up, and we'll see what happens. Or, there's some other games that are like that. I mean, Neverwinter started with Founders Packs. All these games are starting with these Founders Packs. And, you can't really blame it too much on really on the companies, because they only do what people buy. The problem is the impatience of the gaming community. Most games take years and years of development. And, especially indie titles where they're small name studios or no name studios, just a couple people. And, they're developing these games and they need funding. So they turn to early access like Kickstarter or anything like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I totally believe in Kickstarter. Kickstarter is awesome. The problem is the people that manipulate the system and talk about, put up false screenshots and these like over photoshopped type of, images and say this is what the game looks like that we're coming out with. When you boot it, you have graphical bugs, you have terrible textures, ugly, pixelated garbage. Nothing in the game looks like it does in the screenshots. And you have that in multiple type of situations. I mean, you still have the games, the AAA titles that release when they're released, and they have in-house testers, and they have in-house, so I get it. I get the appeal to the Kickstart, and I get the appeal to the early access on Steam. And I know that their process is pretty tedious on getting on there. You can't just be a crap game. You have to be voted by the community. But, you also see that with like Day One, Gary's incident. I know that Total Biscuit did a review on that, and I watched it, and I love his stuff. So shout out to Total Biscuit for being awesome. And but if his video didn't show how broken that game was at launch, and how scary this fad of, hopefully it's a fad because I really want it to fade. This early access fad, how scary it is, because it actually has the ability to kill games before they've reached their potential. But if it doesn't matter, if that part doesn't matter to a company, if just getting your money matters to a company, then they have nothing to worry about launching early access. So it's just something to think about. Really look into it. I know sometimes you get blindsided, like the War Z. Sometimes you just get blindsided. It was basically advertised as the DayZ standalone for all the people, who were following it back then. They were like, oh, this is DayZ standalone, pretty much, And it was almost misconstrued as actually being the DayZ standalone, when it wasn't at all. DayZ standalone just launched as an early access title as well. Now, sometimes they get pushed. The developers get pushed by the companies they work for, saying, hey, we really want the money, so go ahead and push this thing early access. And developers are like, no, it's not ready, it's bad. Because you have to think about it. If a game's not finished, that's like putting an injured sheep into a freaking cage with a T-Rex. The internet is full of people that don't understand early access. The world is full of people that don't understand beta testing, that don't understand the need for it. They don't understand that even when you sign up for an early access game that you are a beta tester. They don't get that. They're like, oh, early access, that means the game's done. They just, haven't let anyone else in it but me because it's early. Like, no, the game is in early access because it's not finished, period. They're not gonna, if the game is done, they would release it to everybody. It doesn't make sense. They're losing money if that's the case. So you have to understand, if you buy an early access game, you are a beta tester. You are going to hit walls and walls of bugs. Now, if you've been following a game for years and, say, hey, I don't care if there's bugs. I just want to play this game. I've been following it for years. I understand, and I will still love it, even if there are bugs. Well, then that's the kind of people that you want in your beta test, right? You don't want the public in your beta test, because they're not going to give your game, they're not going to give your product that level of respect. And they're just going to play it, probably never post in your forums, never post any ideas. They gave you their $15 and they expect it to be fixed in the next patch. And that's it. They won't tell you what's wrong with it. they'll just tell you we want it fixed in the next patch, whatever, you know. We want it to be perfect. My monitors just went black here. Okay, cool. Still recording. So, you know, that's just something to think about on the developer side. If you are coming out with a game and you do want to kickstart it, that's just one thing that you guys got to think about. If you're going to be giving away early access, be prepared for that kind of scrutiny. Your game will get ripped to shreds in an early access if you're not ready for it. And also, if you are buying early access games, understand they're in alpha and they're in beta. They're barely playable, and they're gonna be doing patches, you know. Which that leads me to a whole nother point. Is I'm going off on a tangent now, but is day one patches, day one DLC. What is day one DLC? It's, hey, let's break our game in half and give them this part for an extra $20. So now you're not paying $60 for a game, you're paying, you know, $80 for a game. If you want all the content, I don't know. That might be another Rants and Raves. I don't want to really even get into that. All I want to know is what you guys think about early access games. What you guys think about that process? Are you the type of player who is a beta tester, who is capable of helping a community and adding, and do you post in forums when you first play a game? Or are you the kind of player that just downloads it and then just kind of installs the patches or checks automatically update in Steam and then kind of like touches it every once in a while to see if it's gotten any better? Are you the kind of person where a bad experience in an early access can actually ruin the game for you? I'd like to find out, you know, because that's my opinion, is that could happen. Even if you have the deep understanding of, hey, this game is an alpha, if you have an extremely bad experience, like player wipes, you know, you got like all the crap and now all of a sudden player wipe, sometimes that's enough to where you don't want to play anymore. So I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear back. So leave comments, leave you know, likes if you like the video, subscribe if you're new. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. This is going to wrap it up for this episode of Rants and Raves. If you have any suggestions for future episodes, shoot me up on Twitter or Facebook. Hit me up in the comments here. I'm always taking suggestions for things. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next video. I'll be doing some Let's Plays here pretty soon, so expect those. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.